Hey guys, today it's time for another top 10 plugin video. I did one in 2016 and so many new great plugins have been released that I want to present them to you. But before heading to the studio and do so, I have to tell you I got really great news this morning. I got an email by Armada, which is one of the biggest EDM labels. They re-released one of my tracks last month, All About, and they now asked me to release another track with them, which is just really great news and makes this day from the start already amazing. All done with emails already, so let's go. I got a new nice package from Thomann. It's music stuff, but this time unfortunately nothing really that interesting. Just new earpieces for the biodynamic headphones, but these new earpieces are actually not for my headphones. I already bought new ones a couple of months ago. These are actually for a friend, for Justus. He helped me so much with the recording sessions in the past week. He definitely deserves these. And I got myself two new jack adapters. I don't know why, but every time I need one of those, I don't have one around, although I should have like 20 of them with all of the headphones that I bought and own. But you can't have enough of these. I already opened up the Logic project of my new We Runnin' track with Gavin. If you're interested how we recorded this, just check out the past videos. It was a really good session. Now let's get straight to the top 10 plugins. There is no real particular order in them. These are just 10 plugins where I think that they could improve anyone's mixing and production skills that will help you to be creative and finalize your mixing. The first plugin is actually the new Neutron by iZotope. It's pretty cool. It's doing very unique things. It actually consists of an equalizer, a compressor, another compressor, an exciter, and a transient shaper. But what's really cool, you have like EQs that can react to sounds and actually move to them. For example, you can see here that the EQ is reacting to the frequency. So whenever something is playing in that frequency that you selected with the EQ, it's reacting to it. And you can set here in the dynamic mode with the threshold how much it is actually reacting to it. Another cool feature is the track assist. Whenever you hit the track assist button, it will listen to the track. You just let it play for 5 to 10 seconds. It will analyze it and then give you suggestions how to edit it. So for example, here it's just on the master. It wants me to boost the low frequencies, push a little bit right here at like 1500 Hertz. It also selected the exciter and the compressor setting. And usually it suggested things that will help you to find mistakes. It doesn't always do like the right thing, but it might give you a hint into the right direction and you can still adjust everything. And I think this way of like really assisting you, giving you suggestions, is something pretty unique, pretty new, and I think they made an amazing job programming this. What I also really like is if you have multiple neutrons in your project, they will react to each other, so you can set, for example, the EQ on the bass always when the kick hits to take out away like at 50 Hertz something out of the bass. So like solving masking issues pretty easy with that plugin. Next up are the Soundtoys plugins. I can only recommend you to get them in the package. You have so many effects. I really love the crystallizer. It's like a delay echo synthesizer. You have the Panman that really takes care of everything that has to do with panning. You can program with it pretty complex patterns. The Echo Boy is my go-to tool for echoes, and the Decapitator is just amazing when it comes to giving sounds like a little edge, just distorting them a little bit to make them sound less clean and more interesting. By the way, if you're interested in a review of the Soundtoys plugins, let me know. I still didn't do one, and I think they're the go-to standard for effect plugins. It's just such a complete package. The Valhalla Vintage Reverb is definitely one of those plugins I couldn't live without. It's the best reverb in my opinion. You got all of the settings you need. You have the built-in EQ, you can choose the decay time, the pre-delay, the presets are amazing, and I love that you can change the color between 70s, 80s and now. and kind of change the tone and character of the reverbs. Next up is actually the first synthesizer. It's like an instant classic. It's the one shaping the sound of the music business right now. Probably the most. Future bass wouldn't be really possible without it. It's the Serum Synthi by FX Pension. It's a really strong tool if you want to do anything that is sounding modern and electronic. Yeah, really, if you want to have like complex electronic sounds, this is the go-to synthi. The next one is actually quite the opposite. It's also a software synthesizer. It's more for like the classic sounds. It's emulating a Moog, for example, and a lot of other classic synthesizers. It's the Diva. It was also on top of my list last year. I couldn't still live without it. And I love that you can combine all of those old machines into one. That's really a unique feature. The oscillator section can be switched between triple, dual, and also digital, or you could pick the filter section from another synthi and change it to cascade. Same also for the envelopes. You can change them from analog also to digital. And this way of combining synths is still very unique, and I just love it. You can do so many things with it. You won't need a whole lot of other synthesizers if you have Diva. Unfortunately, just as the name already suggests, Diva is very CPU hungry. I usually have to set the accuracy to draft and then the offline bouncing to best quality just to be able to open up more than 2 or 3 of these software synthesizers. Lethal right here is a ROM-based synthesizer. I'm not the biggest fan of ROM-based synthesizers, but if you're looking to get one, then Lethal is probably a better choice than Nexus. ROM-based synthesizers are based on like samples, so you can't really play around with it. But still the Lethal has the advantage that it's used way less than the Nexus, so you can still use the sounds without them already being out there on a couple of hundred of tracks. And for beginners, this is probably the best synthesizer to start with. It's easy to use. You just select the sounds. There's not a whole lot you can set up, but you got pretty decent sounds you can use and just write tracks pretty fast. And now a plugin that not a whole lot of people use, but I just love to use it. I do all of my drums with it. It's called Geist by FX Pension. I just use it because it's so problematic to program drums with Logic. I mean, yes, you can draw in the MIDI and kind of get away using the ESX24 sampler, but I just love to have like a real drum sequencer where I can just draw in the different drum patterns and go from there. You basically really just hit play and then select the samples for each of the pads, and then you just draw them in and you can immediately hear what it will sound like. At least for me, that's the most natural way to handle electronic drums. Next up is actually a plugin package. It's the one by Waves. It will be probably on every single top 10 plugin list that I will ever make. It's just the most complete package, the most professional, but also unfortunately the most expensive, but it has really all of the pro tools you need to deal with vocals, compression, emulations of older equipment. The SSL compressor is really good. I love the Waves S1 imager to make things wide, and the list just goes on, and they always invent new plugins. It's really great, except maybe for the price. Just got a really great, amazing message, but more on that tomorrow. This would just make this video way too long, but that's good news. Good news, like great news. This day is really amazing. Just started off with great news and got now even way better. But let's continue with the plugins. So this right here is the endless list of all of those Wave plugins. I still don't even have the newest version. I bought it a couple of years ago where we're still doing the Ghost productions. I had the money for it. These are some of my favorites: the Bass Rider, the TrueVerb, amazing reverb plugin, the SSL compressor. I use it on every single track. The max volume is cool, the L2 limiter also on every single track, and the Vocal Rider, which just saves a whole lot of time whenever you have vocals with way too much dynamic. The CLA3A is also amazing to color sounds and just compress them, as well as the H compressor, which is one of the newer plugins. I actually just got a couple of days ago 2 plugins by a company called Beatskills. They have a plugin called That Thing and one called Slam Pro. I'm still trying them out, but so far I really like them. That thing is more for coloring sound and like emulating old sounds, tape sounds, vinyl recording sounds, and Slam Pro is more for controlling the dynamics and EQing, and there are some little nice neat things that they have that other plugins don't have. The smaller one is the sound coloring plugin. You can choose, for example, your preset 80s drum machine, and it will just really sound like old tape. You can make things sound like Café Del Mar, which is kind of nice. It's a nice little approach to coloring, shaping the sound of your production. With the Slam Pro, you can control the bass. You can really change the sub-frequencies or more the boom and the bass sound. You can add a little bit of air or heat. You can choose the frequency where really to add it to. You can also mess around with the stereo image. You can set up a crossover frequency and, for example, keep everything below 300 Hz mono and make the rest really wide. We already reached the last spot. I was thinking for a long time to give it to Native Instruments and to their entire package, which is just amazing. I really love the Kontakt library. The piano is my go-to piano. I also love the Reaktor, which is just super creative. But I will actually give the last spot to a plugin called Tornado. It's a little bit less known probably. It's very freaky and you can do all crazy things with it. And whenever I don't know what to do with a sound and I just know I want to change it and make it crazy and go into another direction, I'm just using that plugin. It's also really cool to do automations with it. For example, have a vocal that then just repeats itself and gets a lot of delay, a lot of phasing, a lot of reverb, and just create a really nice, interesting build-up for an EDM track, for example. That's what it looks like, and just by turning one of these 8 knobs, it will do all crazy kinds of things. Let me hit play. So pretty complex things that you can even edit to your liking. I usually just go through the presets and see whatever fits and maybe adjust the timing of whatever it's doing. So that's pretty much already it for today. These are the top 10 picks. These are my top 10 plugins for 2017. I'm pretty sure I forgot your favorite plugin. There are so many out there, so many good out there. I also don't always have the time to test all of them or buy all of them, but just let me know down below in the comments what your favorite plugin for 2017 is. I will check the comments out and maybe do a review about one of your suggestions. But yeah, now it's time to just go back straight to making music. I'm still working on this wee run-in track, which kind of starts to really bounce and feel good. It's a little bit more clubby than my usual stuff, and I hope to be able to finish it before I leave to the US, but I don't really think that will happen. There's still so much to take care of. I kind of failed. That's the second day in a row where I'm taking care of more business stuff than actually working on music. There's a lot of strange stuff going on right now in the background, but more on that in one of the future episodes. Now just back home, getting dark outside.